the stolen valor story that I find completely shocking. I mean, yeah, no, it's completely shocking. It's not insane in the sense of, I believe people lie all the time for many stupid reasons. But this one combines several factors that I thought like stood out. You know, cancer fakers are bad, or illness fakers are bad enough. This one just goes over the line so hard, you can't even swim back to the line if you wanted to, if that makes sense. So today we're going to talk about Sarah Cavanaugh, who posed as a Marine with cancer. So not even just a wounded Marine. She's a wounded Marine now with cancer, and a very elaborate story as to how she obtained the cancer while on duty. She got $250,000 in donations. Okay. So that's her. Everything that she stands for in this picture is bullshit. And I mean stands for in the sense of her hat's fake, her shirt may be real, but it's not. Anything that she's wearing that identifies her as like a service member is bullshit, because she never actually served in any military whatsoever. Can you believe it? Yeah. Okay, so let me read this and then we'll watch a video about it. A Rhode Island woman posed as a U.S. Marine Corps veteran with lung cancer in order to bilk Good Samaritans out of $250,000 in donations and services, prosecutors said. Okay. Sarah Cavanaugh, 31, on Tuesday agreed to plead guilty to charges that she forged military documents and even set up a GoFundMe to raise money in her phony fight against stage 4. Of course, they always say it's stage 4. That's a sign. No, it's not I hate to say that. Like, oh, if you're suspicious and they say they're stage 4, that's a, indicator. It's not necessarily, but all the ones that turn out to be fake always go stage 4. I guess because the urgency is there. If you're stage 2 or 3, it's like, I don't know if I'm going to give my $10 to your 5K. But if you're stage 4, I'm going to make the jump. It's like, I don't know. I guess that's their mentality, I'm assuming. Okay. She even set up a GoFundMe to raise money in her phony fight against stage 4 cancer she claimed was caused by exposure to burn pits in Iraq. Okay, so she claims to have been in Iraq and got the cancer from the burn pits there. So that's good. Cavanaugh, a social worker, received thousands from groups like Wounded Warrior Project, okay, that's a pretty famous nonprofit, to pay for expenses including home repairs, and she obtained hundreds of hours worth of paid time off due to faked illness, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Rhode Island said. Cavanaugh allegedly used her job, so she worked at the VA, as she was a certified social worker or a licensed social worker, which I'm shocked about. I guess I shouldn't be as shocked as I am these days. She used her job as a licensed social worker at the VA to access the medical bills of actual cancer patients, as well as Navy discharge records, which she altered for her use. She even joined the Veterans of Foreign Wars Post 152 in North Kingstown and appeared at functions in a borrowed Marine uniform decorated with medals. One of those medals, including the Purple Star, which she apparently bought online. She claimed to be a Purple Heart and Bronze Star recipient who spent time in Iraq and Afghanistan, prosecutors said. Here she is. Like, what are you thinking? What is this all for? It's insane to me. Like, what is going on in your head that this seems okay to you to do? Like, you know what? I'm going to get mine and lie. Like, it's so wrong. Cavanaugh blamed her cancer on the burn pits and from inhaling particulate matter from an explosive, though she never had cancer, nor served in the military. The scammer used her fake status and forged records to net hundreds of thousands from veterans groups of people looking to help, including $225,000 from the Wounded Warrior Project and $14,000 in tuition and travel assistance from the group Creative Vets, which I guess is like Creative Vets. She also fraudulently obtained 460 hours of emergency paid leave worth over $20,000 and 261 hours of federal leave time donated by other federal employees for her non-existent sickness. The con artist was busted after 2 real veterans, of course, grew suspicious, with one logging into the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute intending to pay a bill for Cavanaugh, but finding her account didn't exist. Army veteran Chelsea Simone told the Daily Beast that she then checked with a military contact about Cavanaugh's record and started to connect the dots. They searched and said she never served. That night, I didn't sleep at all. Cavanaugh of East Greenwich is charged with wire fraud, identity theft, forging a military discharge certificate, and fraudulent use of military medals. She faces a maximum of 24 years in prison, but as part of the plea agreement, prosecutors will recommend a lighter sentence on the low end of sentencing guidelines. So, yeah, the judge is not bound by the recommendation from the prosecutors. I would imagine if the highest is 24 years, she'll probably get 1 year in prison and like 3 years probation and have to pay back the money in restitution. That would be my guess, because she didn't kill anybody. You know, I mean, that's like such a low bar, my God. But like, if it's a non-violent crime and it's like one person, they usually just don't sentence those very highly. I mean, from what I have seen. So that's horrendous. Okay, so I have some videos in addition. And, you know, I think it's interesting to talk about how she did it, why she did it, and we can actually hear from her and how she spoke. Because it's interesting to see before they've been caught how they sound. I think it's important to show those moments. Okay, so this is from CBS in Boston.
Rhode Island woman accused of posing as a wounded Marine to get charity money has agreed to plead guilty. WBZ's Paula Eben joins us live in studio now. And Paula, she is actually facing a list of charges.
Lisa, we've been following this story since March when 31-year-old Sarah Cavanaugh of East Greenwich, Rhode Island, was arrested. Now she has struck a plea agreement and will plead guilty. Police say Cavanaugh falsely claimed to be a decorated Marine with a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star who was battling lung cancer because of exposure to burn pits in war zones. Police say she also used those claims to fraudulently gain hundreds of thousands of dollars in charitable benefits and services reserved for injured veterans. Police say Cavanaugh never served.
Isn't that bold as hell? She's like doing speeches at events. She's never served in the military. It's insane to me. The balls on these people, the guts. Like, I do think it is a condition, like a neurological, like you have it or you don't. If you're bold enough to pull something off like this, that's why it seems insane when people question. It's like, she must be telling the truth, because you have to be insane to lie to this degree. But here we are. It does happen.
Served in any military branch. And back in March, we spoke with the executive director of a nonprofit that Cavanaugh had recently asked for help.
When I asked her, well, explain to me what happened, and she said to me, I was in Afghanistan. I was the second vehicle in a convoy, and we hit an IED, that was buried on the side of the road. And she said that her lung cancer was a direct correlation from particulate matter related to the IED blast, which is an extremely concerning. That's something that happens fairly often that gets overlooked.
Cavanaugh will plead guilty to charges of fraud, aggravated identity theft, forgery, and fraudulent use of medals. A judge will determine her sentence. David.
Yeah, so that's good. And this story does seem so like specific too. They don't just come up with like, oh, I have cancer and I'm also a veteran. It's like, no, I was the second, tank in the lineup, and I got hit with an IED, and then from that I got this. It's like elaborate as hell. That's why it's so shocking. Okay, I'm hoping someone remind me, Inside Edition, am I going to get screwed on Inside Edition or not? I did get screwed with Extra, but I think Inside Edition constitutes journalism, I'm hoping, to some degree. Because here's a more in-depth one. Oh, look, we're matching. Hey. I'm basically wearing that shirt. Okay, war hero accused of stolen valor bought medals online. So that was part of it too. I guess you can buy Purple Hearts online, and you can buy it's like a bronze star, I believe, with the V, which is a special. I'm not a military person, obviously. A special label that means something even more than like just a bronze star, I believe. So they explain it in here.
On Memorial Day, the nation honors those who've served in our country's military, often with special honors for those wounded or awarded medals for bravery, which is why it is disgusting to think that someone pretending to have been a brave member of our military who wasn't. Lisa Guerrero reports on one woman suspected of doing just that.
My name is Sarah Cavanaugh, and I served in the United States Marine Corps from 2007 to 2016.
As Corporal Sarah.
Okay, that's her talking, obviously. I have a longer version of this clip that we're going to watch after this, but she's saying that very convincingly. I mean, I guess you'd have to by that point, but like, none of that is true. I can barely say true things so confidently. And this person's just like, yes, I served from this year to this year. It's like, girl.
My name is Sarah Cavanaugh, and I served in the United States Marine Corps from 2007 to 2016.
As Corporal Sarah Jane Cavanaugh tells it, she earned a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star with a V for valor.
I was given a Purple Heart for actions in Afghanistan.
From handing out awards to acting as Master of Ceremonies.
Yeah, it really is an honor to be a part of this.
She certainly seems like a true war hero. She was even honored at a ribbon-cutting ceremony to mark the opening of a Purple Heart Trail in Rhode Island.
When you're awarded a Purple Heart, that day will change your life forever.
The Purple Heart she's wearing is only presented to service members who have been wounded in combat or awarded posthumously to those that have made the ultimate sacrifice. But there's one tiny little problem. The Marines tell us there's no record she ever even served in the military, let alone earned all those medals.
It was absolutely incredulous.
It was unbelievable.
These veterans are the real deal.
We were all really shocked. It's heartbreaking, too.
It's really true. I think the news needs to be better. Now, it looks like they hadn't covered her much, like in a positive way. Like, this amazing woman is doing amazing things, because that happens a lot. You know, they'll get positive news coverage, like people who fake illnesses. I think the news should be 100% checking records, calling doctors as part of their job. I know being a reporter sucks, especially being a TV reporter. If you need a story, you show up at work. By the end of your shift, your story has to be done. And sometimes, like, if that's your story of the day, the doctor's not available, the hospital's not available to, like, you know, confirm or deny something. But that's part of the problem. It's like when we're all assuming as citizens that reporters are doing these fact checks. And it's not necessarily true. I've been in the industry. I know for sure it's not true that every single story fact that goes out is double checked and fact checked. You can't do it. A lot of these reporters, especially in a small town, and especially probably in Rhode Island, if there was a reporter there, that town is so small, that person's making probably $20,000 a year. They are probably young. They're probably 21 years old that are doing reports a lot all day long, doing multiple shows. I'm sorry going on a rant about the news industry, but I mean to say there needs to be some sort of accountability on the media's part by checking people that claim they have these amazing disorders and diseases, because we're presenting it as if it's true and that they've done the research to you know, verify. That's why people believe these people a lot of times, because it's like it got on the news, so how could it be fake? And secondly, groups like this, I think, which sucks because they're being punished for being trusting, but groups like the Wounded Warrior Project needs to do better due diligence when they're checking their forms of people, you know, applying for care, and all the nonprofits. There should be something in place where you're checking so that if someone is asking for money, asking for donations, double check that person's not a scam artist, because it's like, come on, at this point, like, people will scam. Like, we need to be aware of this fact by now. Come on.
Say they first met her at the local VFW in North Kingstown, Rhode Island, where she once served as post commander.
I am the commander of Post 152 in town.
Did you believe her story?
She knew and said things that only Marines should know, period. It was truly a catch me if you can type scenario where she fooled everyone in her life for over 5 years.
So woman to woman, how does this make you feel?
It's like they've taken honor away from your service. And it almost feels like, because people said to me, well, is stolen valor even a big deal? I said, I don't know. If your spouse pretended to have a whole nother family and you just found out, would that be a big deal? It's like living a complete lie.
And David Ainsley is a true Purple Heart recipient, earning it for wounds he suffered in Iraq.
There was a sense of betrayal on a personal level.
He says she told them she was part of an elite female engagement team like this.
She informed me of various aspects of her service, that she was in Afghanistan, that she was part of a FET or a female engagement team, that she was wounded in combat.
He says she told him her courage under fire.
Okay, this is something that another YouTuber did. I'm gonna play a little bit of his video. He's very angry in it, which, you know, I'm all for, but it's like probably hard to listen to because it's like he's screaming the whole video. He's very angry about this, which I understand, but it's a little hard to watch for a long period of time, but we're going to watch a couple clips of it. He actually did like a little breakdown of how bad a salute this is. The way she's standing with her legs apparently is not to code. The way her hand is not to code. There's certain ways you're supposed to salute, you know, officially, correctly to different, I guess, I don't know if it's different, I shouldn't say, I don't know. There's different protocols, and she's not doing it correctly. And as someone so decorated would obviously know the correct way to salute.
Also earned her a Bronze Star with a special V insignia for trying to save the life of a fellow Marine killed in action. The Bronze Star with a V is nothing to be taken lightly. It's the 4th highest military decoration, given for meritorious acts of heroism in combat.
And on top of that, she claimed that she had, cancer.
That's right. They say she told them she developed stage 4 lung cancer from inhaling harmful particles when her car hit a roadside bomb, like this in Afghanistan. That made her eligible to receive thousands of dollars in charitable donations, which prosecutors say she used to pay her mortgage, groceries, even a gym membership.
So how did her make-believe world as a war hero finally come crashing down?
I think she's a terrible person.
Army veteran Chelsea Simone is a registered nurse who works with veterans with cancer. She says she got suspicious and reported her after hearing Cavanaugh was collecting donations. Lots of donations.
They let me ask for help without feeling wrong for needing that.
Federal investigators say to
maybe that's a bad thing. Jeez.
Further the elaborate ruse, she even stole and falsified official documents she got here while working at the VA from real veterans and then passed them off as her own.
Today, Chelsea is brought to tears. She says Cavanaugh's greed knew no bounds, calling what she did beyond appalling.
I get extremely upset about it. I'm very frustrated. You can tell by my hands, I'm very frustrated.
I'm with Inside Edition.
Our producer, Charlie McLaravy, tried to speak with her.
Ms. Cavanaugh, veterans we talked to call you a phony and a fraud. Do you have anything to say to that? Did you really earn a Purple Heart?
The once proudly posing pseudo-soldier, now hiding her face.
You bought that Purple Heart online, didn't you?
She drove.
See, okay, this is off topic sort of from this whole incredible story that's incredibly insane and disgusting. But okay, what that guy just did, a producer for this Inside Edition, took his phone and went up to her in a private place and said, I'm going to ask you questions. Did you do this? Did you do that? Whatever. Okay, that to me would feel more of something like harassing than like someone making a TikTok about something, in my opinion. Now, that is completely protected, what we just saw. Completely protected, you're allowed to do. If you're in a public place, you are not assuming any, at least in the state of Florida, I'm pretty sure this is everywhere, but maybe I'm wrong. If you're in a public place, you can be photographed, you can be approached and asked questions, you can be recorded. There is no assumption of privacy when you're like walking out of a CVS. So when people say they're gonna sue over TikToks, I'm just like, I roll my eyes because I'm like, this would be the first thing to be, you know, put up for scrutiny, in my opinion, as opposed to like harassment, you know, by critique online. But that's my side note thing.
Bob. Tracy Brown Green spent over 20 years in the Army. She served in Iraq and Afghanistan and is one of a small group of female veterans to have been awarded a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star.
I got a Purple Heart because I got injured, but guess what? I have people that didn't come back. They're in Arlington Cemetery and cemeteries. So for you to say that you received this, you have no idea what it takes to be a Purple Heart recipient.
What would you say to Sarah Cavanaugh today?
I hope she gets the help that she needs, but I hope she pays and is prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
How do you do that? Shame on you. It's honestly the biggest form of disrespect that I can think of.
Cavanaugh has pled not guilty to 4 felony counts, including identity theft.
Okay, so she pled not guilty, but she then changed, it seems, her plea to guilty to avoid a trial, which I think is probably smart. They probably presented the evidence to her lawyer, and her lawyer probably said, you're gonna be screwed. You better not do that. Now I have the whole court case against her. I love when it's the United States of America, the whole country versus you. The entire United States of America versus Sarah Cavanaugh. Okay, so this is what it says. This is just more detailed information, sort of, and then we can watch the video. We're not going to go through everything. Since 2016, Cavanaugh was a licensed social worker in the state of Rhode Island and was an employee of the Department of Veterans Affairs. Okay, Cavanaugh has not at any time served in the armed forces of the United States. Members of the military leaving active duty are issued a Defense Department form, a military certificate of release or discharge from active duty upon discharge. So if you leave the military, you get a form that you can show that you were released for whatever reason. The DD 214 lists, among other things, the service member's date and place of entry into and release from active duty, last duty assignment and rank, military job specialty, military education, and any decorations, medals, badges, citations, and campaign awards received. The form also contains an electronic data interchange personal identifier number, commonly referred to as a Department of Defense ID number, a completely unique number used to identify specific individuals who are affiliated with the Department of Defense. So like a social security number, but for your service. Got it. The Purple Heart is a military decoration given to the service members who suffer wounds from enemy action. The Bronze Star with a combat V is a military decoration awarded for, she said the word, meritorious? Merit, okay, that makes sense. Meritorious, or heroic acts performed during actual combat. As an LSW, so a licensed social worker for the VA, Cavanaugh had significant interaction with veterans, which involved, among other things, gathering documents, proving military service from patients, including forms, and directing veterans to resources within the community to fulfill immediate needs. By virtue of her employment through use of the VA's computer network, Cavanaugh had access to veterans' military service and medical records and became familiar with veteran-focused charities. Okay, so PH is a Rhode Island, the victim. So this is someone who's being filed on the behalf. So they're not sharing their full names. But the first victim they're listing is a Rhode Island resident who served in the Marines from 2011 to 2016. And then JH, a Rhode Island resident who served in the Navy from 97 to 2017. And so that person was a patient at the VA who was being treated for cancer. So I'm assuming here the story is she took the information from this veteran and changed the name and put her name in there so she could have documents to show what she claimed she had to give more validation to her lies. Okay, so the Victim Veterans Charities, Hunter 7 is an organization that conducts research on military veteran-specific issues and occasionally provides monetary aid to veterans in need of assistance. Wounded Warrior Project, Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States is a veteran service organization. Creativets, Vets is an organization that helps wounded veterans struggling with post-traumatic stress and brain injury by using music and art to help heal their unseen wounds of war and to develop mechanisms to cope with stress, depression, and other side effects. Why would she take from that organization, other than the fact that they are offering her money, I guess, or that she knows they have money? Why would she need the Creative Veterans Fund, like, specifically? It just seems like more of a slap in the face for some reason. Okay, Code of Support is a Virginia-based organization that acts as a clearinghouse. The SSG Matthew A. Puccino Memorial Foundation is a Massachusetts-based foundation. Okay. Thank you, though. That serves to honor the memory of its namesake by providing for the physical and emotional needs of combat wounded soldiers. I'm sure that's his legacy is not to give scammers free money. Okay, Air Warrior Courage Foundation, Vet Links, the Clementi Institute Veterans Initiative, Patrol Base Abate. Those are all the places that apparently she took money from or took services from. Okay, and then this is about her taking money for free from her employer. And then other victims, M.A. is a Rhode Island resident who became acquainted with Cavanaugh through training for Warriors West Bay, a now closed exercise facility once located on the street. A.O. is a Rhode Island resident who is undergoing cancer treatment at Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. Okay. S.F., the daughter of A.O., is a physical therapist known to Cavanaugh and the owner of a physical therapy practice. GoFundMe, because of obvious reasons. Okay, so here's the scheme to defraud. From in or about January 1st, 2015, so starting the new year of 2015 off on a scam, and continuing in or about March 31st, 2022. So that's pretty recently. I didn't realize it was this recent. Continuing, okay, so 2015 to 2022, she kept this up for. She knowingly devised and intended to devise a scheme and artifice to defraud and for obtaining money and property by materially false and fraudulent pretenses, representations, and promises. The object of the scheme to defraud. The object of the scheme to defraud was for Sarah Cavanaugh to obtain money and property which exceeded $250,000, which I think is a high amount. Like, most of the other people I talked about 2 weeks ago, or however long that was, when we talked about cancer scammers, they got away with $10,000 of donations. Like, $250,000 is a lot to defraud various charities for, I think. It was part of the scheme to defraud that she falsely represented herself to others as being a combat veteran of the USMC when in fact she has never served in the military. She falsely represented herself to others as being the recipient of a Purple Heart and Bronze Star with a Combat V, which is not true. It was also part of the scheme to defraud that she altered and forged that military form without the knowledge. So she forged the victim PH, whoever that is. So Philip Harris, I don't know, someone with PH, or Patricia Heisman, who knows, forged their form without his knowledge, I guess it's a he, without his knowledge or consent, which contained PH's actual number and claiming it to be her own, fraudulently submitting it to veterans organizations and charities as proof of her military service and awards. She took this man's military career, and just said, "That's me." Bold. Very bold. I guess she thought that they wouldn't check, or maybe she learned that they don't check that closely or something. I don't know. Maybe they just don't look at the name. I don't know. I don't know how you do that. It was also part of the scheme that Cavanaugh borrowed her uniform borrowed the uniform, the USMC, so the Marines uniform of an acquaintance, and wore the uniform replete with the aforementioned medals in public and to military events. So she borrowed it from a friend. Borrowed the outfit. That's interesting. It was also part of the scheme that Cavanaugh falsely claimed as a result of her military service to have developed lung cancer and sustained other physical injuries from exposure to burn pits in Iraq, Afghanistan, after inhaling particulate matter in the aftermath of an IED attack, when in fact she did not have lung cancer or any other physical injuries related to military service and had not in fact served in the military. She also altered and forged cancer-related medical bills and diagnoses of actual cancer patients without their knowledge or consent to fraudulently represent the different charities. Okay. That's basically saying the same thing. She got employee benefits. She got money, gift cards, home repairs, gym memberships, travel, vacations, educational courses, and compensated sick leave. She also, in 2016, she submitted an altered and forged DD-214, that military form that she took from the guy, to Wounded Warrior Project, falsely claiming to be a cancer-stricken Marine veteran who was wounded in action in Iraq, including WWP, so Wounded Warrior Project, to expend at least $225,000 on Cavanaugh. Now, Wounded Warrior Project, I hate to throw blame on them, but like, you're not doing the thorough check and you're giving $200,000 away. What's happening? Like, what's going on there? Something's not, someone needs to get in the office or do some, fact checking here. It's her fault, but come on. On or about November 2016, she applied to become a member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars VFW Post 152. So a year in of this scam, she decided to try to join the Veterans of Foreign Wars Post, headquartered in North Kingstown, Rhode Island, providing her fraudulent number. Between 2016 and 2021, that VFW Post entrusted Cavanaugh with $4,300 intended as donations from them to the Giving Tree charity, which was never received by the Giving Tree. Okay, so not only did she take fraudulent stuff, apparently she was taking money meant for other charities, Giving Tree, and just not giving it to them. In or about 2017, she falsely represented herself to be an injured or ill combat veteran, induced MA, a gym member at Training for Warriors West Bay, to give her $2,500 to use towards medical expenses. Okay, so she got money from the gym. She applied to the Creative Vets program for benefits, providing that fraudulent paperwork as part of her application, which noted that she was a recipient of the Purple Heart and the Bronze Star. And so they spent approximately $14,000 on an art program tuition and travel for her. So she must be an artiste. She wants to be an artiste for Friest. $14,000. So she likes art or something. Interesting. That one just bothers me the most. Why would you take away creative arts for another veteran? Like that, like money is money, but like an art program. Like, what is wrong with you? That seems so much worse. I don't know why. Okay, back in 2019 and 2021, January, she obtained financial aid or services from, the Matthew Pacino Memorial Foundation paid $10,000 for a new furnace for her home. The Air Warrior Courage Foundation donated $2,500 to her. VetLinks donated $3,600 to her. Easter Seals paid $900 gym membership. She likes the gym for some reason. 2019, she falsely represented herself to be a decorated combat veteran, applied for and was accepted by the Clementi Institute Veterans Initiative Program, receiving course instruction and travel to New York City museums. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you have $250,000. Like, this is why I feel like it's not all about money. It's about, like, it's an illness. Like, it has to be. Because why are you... It's like she really believes that this is real in some capacity or something. Because to go on an art program and to go to a foundation that does New York museum tours, like, that just is taking it to an extreme level. Unless it's a cover that she really just wanted the money, but she wanted to, like, apply to everything to make it look like she wasn't just in it for money. Weird things that she's gotten out of this in addition to the money. Okay, yikes. What? Okay, in or about March 2020. Okay, so when the world was about to end, or was ending for everybody, basically, pandemic style, Cavanaugh falsely presented herself to JH, one of the victims, as a fellow cancer patient struggling to pay the insurance deductibles for her cancer treatments at Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, fraudulently inducing this actual cancer patient. Okay. So a real life cancer patient gave this scammer $594 per month for 9 months to pay her insurance deductibles totaling $5,346. That is 20 million times worse than her doing an art course for $14,000. You took $5,000 from more than $5,000 from an actual cancer patient. You are sick and not with cancer in your brain. Oh my God, that is so horrendous. Okay, in or about May 2020 to about March 2021, she misused the voluntary leave transfer program through which she received donated leave from other federal employees based upon her false representations that she was ill with cancer, fraudulently obtaining 261 hours of leave worth $11,000. So I guess if you're an employee and you don't want to take your sick day, you can donate your sick day to someone who's going through a traumatic event or a big illness. That's also disgusting. Like, people need time off. You're going to take other people's time off? Great. For $11,000 worth? Okay. In February 2020 and November 2021, she fraudulently obtained emergency paid leave by submitting false Department of Labor paperwork to the VA requesting special leave consideration without Cavanaugh, without authorization, signed the false paperwork with the name of SF, a physical therapist. Okay, so that's one of the victims, known to Cavanaugh. As a result, Cavanaugh fraudulently obtained 460 hours valued at approximately $20,000. So she signed someone she knew who was a physical therapist's name to the form so she could get time off from work. In July 2021, Cavanaugh applied electronically to Patrol Base Abate to participate in their Veterans Wilderness Retreats and was selected to go on retreats to Montana and Colorado in 2021 based upon her false claims of military service and combat injuries, causing a loss to Patrol Base Abate. Is that Abate? I don't know. I'm dumb. I'm sorry. For $1,900. So she went on a retreat to Montana and Colorado as well. Wow. Weird. That is weird. I'm sorry. I get the money. I don't get these excursions that she's going on. That's the most bizarre to me. She goes to Colorado and Montana for free as well for some weird ass reason. Okay. On or about September 24th, 2021, Cavanaugh sent an email to San Diego business Regatta Menswear, which specializes in military ribbons and medals, to purchase, among other awards, a bronze star with a combat V and a purple heart. So she didn't buy those until 2021. I wonder if someone asked to see it, because she's been lying since 2015, allegedly. And so in 2021, people must have been getting close to wanting to see some proof, or unless she wanted to, yeah, I guess, right? Like, she didn't have the bronze star, the purple heart. Interesting. In or about November 2021, Cavanaugh created a fundraiser on the social media site GoFundMe entitled Help Sarah Win Her Battle. 0 points for creativity. The Creative Vets program did not help your creativity with that headline. Help Sarah Win Her Battle, which falsely described her as a combat veteran suffering from cancer. Donors from around the United States gave money to the campaign, totaling $4,700, which was transferred to her bank account. In 2022, so right before she got caught, January 2022, she submitted to Hunter 7 altered medical bills belonging to AO, so the other cancer patient, and a cancer diagnosis belonging to JH. So she really took advantage of JH, falsely claiming them to be her own when attempting to obtain money from Hunter 7 to help pay her medical bills for alleged military service-related medical issues. Okay, so that's what she's accused of doing. This is how she did it. On or about January 12, 2021, for the purpose of executing the aforementioned scheme and artifice and attempting to do so, defendant Sarah Cavanaugh did knowingly transmit and cause to be transmitted from Rhode Island to Virginia by means of wire communication, an email to code support containing an image of an altered and forged military discharge form, falsely representing herself as a Marine veteran and Purple Heart. Okay, so they're saying that she sent it fraudulently, the picture of it. Okay, let's see. So that's the wire transfer issue. Okay, so there's just more, basically like more, same thing, just in a different way. And here's the form. Isn't this crazy? I can like find all this online. Isn't that nuts? Okay, so max penalty. So that's what's where you get the up to 24 years. The most is for the wire fraud. Fraud by wire, radio, or television. That's 20 years, up to 20 years. And then aggravated identity theft, up to 2 years. Okay, so really, if you use or exhibit a military discharge certificate, so if you're knowing the same to be forged, counterfeit, or falsely altered, you only can't get more than a year. And you can't get greater than $100,000, so low penalty there. And fraudulent use of military medals, you can get not more than 1 year imprisonment. I'm sort of surprised that the United States has sort of low laws around that. I would imagine that, that would be a higher on their crackdown list. But